Hello and welcome tonight. As Muslims across the world celebrate this year's Eid al-Kabir festival, President Bola Tinubu asked Nigerians to be tolerant and obey the rule of law. Muslims across Nigeria converged on various prayer grounds to celebrate the Eid al-Kabir. Islamic clerics and state governors asked Nigerians to embrace peace and maintain a life of sacrifice. History is made in London as former Councillor Rosaline Oguro assumes office as the mayor of Islington. And the head of the World Health Organization, Tedros Ghebreyesus, says the ongoing conflict in the DR Congo is hampering the Ebola outbreak response.
Nigeria's foreign exchange reserves rebound to nearly $50 billion after several weeks of decline, as crude oil earnings offset impact of geopolitical tensions on the external buffer.
On sports news tonight, world number 2 Elena Rybakina suffers shock exit after losing to unseeded Ukrainer Yulia Starodobtseva in the second round of the French Open.
And from the nation's capital, as the nation marks this year's Children's Day, the Christian Association of Nigeria calls on government at all levels to treat the protection of schools and children as an urgent national responsibility.
Today, Muslims across Nigeria join their counterparts across the world to celebrate Eid al-Kabir, one of the most important festivals in Islam. It commemorates the willingness of the Prophet Ibrahim to sacrifice his son in obedience to God's command, in line with Islamic teachings, which stated that before the sacrifice was carried out, God provided a ram as a substitute, symbolizing faith, obedience, and total submission to God. The festival serves as a reminder to Muslims about the importance of trusting God and placing divine instruction above personal interests, even in difficult circumstances. A key aspect of the celebration is the sacrifice of animals such as rams, goats, cows, or camels. The act represents selflessness, devotion, and the readiness to make sacrifices for the sake of humanity and faith. Eid al-Kabir also emphasizes charity and compassion for the less privileged. Families are encouraged to share meat and food with relatives, neighbors, and the needy, promoting kindness, generosity, and social welfare within society. It also encourages peace, unity, and mutual support among citizens. In the spirit of Eid al-Kabir, Nigerians must be tolerant and obey the rule of law, as religious teachings strictly condemn the killing of one another. President Bola Tinubu made this known during the Eid prayers at Dorden Barracks in Ikoyi, Lagos. He was accompanied by a host of dignitaries, including National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, Chief of Staff to the President Femi Gbajabiamila, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, among others.
A roll call of dignitaries adorned in traditional attire make their way into the Dorden Barracks in Ikoyi, Lagos, joining President Bola Tinubu for the 2026 Eid al-Kabir prayer. Unlike the open prayer grounds accessible to the general public, this is a restricted gathering. The National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, the Chief of Staff to the President Femi Gbajabiamila, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Deputy Governor Kadri Hamzat, and other top officials joined the President to observe the rites. Muslims, men, women, and children also gather in separate tents for prayers. After the prayer session, President Tinubu urged Nigerians to embrace tolerance and adhere to the rule of law.
We must learn from the lessons of this session and is showing love to one another. No discrimination, no ethnicity, no hatred, and we should share. It is essential that we be very tolerant, be obedient to the wish of Allah, and obedient to the rule of law, which must guide our society. Nowhere in the only teaching that you should engage in banditry. Nowhere that you should kill another human being.
The message of sacrifice, symbolized by the slaughtering of rams and sharing among neighbors, was echoed by the chief imam and other leaders.
So for our nation to attain that prosperity, that national development, all of us need to sacrifice. So all our leaders too need to sacrifice. As citizens, we need to sacrifice and be more passionate about our nation.
It is important at this stage for us to remember the members of the armed forces, especially those that are deployed in areas of operations. They don't have the privilege of observing the Eid with their family, so we should continue to support them with prayer.
Other officials asked citizens to remain hopeful for a better nation and live in harmony.
If you fear God, you will not kill another human being, you will not hurt another human being. So we must live in peace and harmony, and we pray that God will be with all of us and let us celebrate many more.
Continue to pray for the country, that this election will go smoothly, it will be fair, it will be credible. And of course, I want everybody to continue to pray for the president, and that things will continue to get better. His reform will begin to yield fruits.
Muslims also converged on the police college in Ikeja for the Eid al-Kabir prayers. A central lesson of Eid al-Kabir is the call to show mercy and compassion regardless of ethnicity or religion.
Meanwhile, Vice President Kashim Shettima has urged Nigerians to embrace peace, tolerance and harmony for the development and coexistence of the country. Vice President Shettima, who joined other Muslims to observe the Eid prayers in Maiduguri, Borno State, also called on political leaders and citizens across the country to approach the 2027 electoral season with maturity, even as he warned against divisive tendencies capable of undermining peace and stability. He explained that the administration of President Bola Tinubu remains committed to its ongoing reforms to help reduce the economic pressures faced by the citizens. The Vice President was joined at the Ramat Square Eid ground in Maiduguri by the Deputy Governor of Borno State, Umar Kadafur, Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, members of the National Assembly, and other senior government officials.
Our message to Nigerians is to continue praying for peace and for mutual coexistence amongst all Nigerians. And as we enter the political phase, there is a need for maturity, for forbearance, and for generosity of spirit in our political interactions. Most importantly, what binds us together supersedes whatever that divides us. The world itself is in turmoil occasioned by the war in the Middle East. The cost of living indices globally has risen. I wish to call on Nigerians to exercise patience and tolerance. Governments at all levels are poised to ameliorate the sufferings of the Nigerian people. Let there be peace in the land. And let's pray for peace not only in Borno, but in all the nooks and crannies of this country, in the Sahel zone of West Africa, and in the world at large.
Staying with the Eid celebrations and in the northern part of the country, the chief imam of the Islamic Brotherhood of Nigeria Mosque, Sheikh Abdul Salam Adedokun, is asking Nigerians to embrace peace and maintain a life of sacrifice. Speaking shortly after leading the Eid prayers in Abuja, Sheikh Adedokun also asked Nigerians to be prayerful to overcome the economic and security challenges bedeviling Nigeria as a nation.
Muslim faithfuls across the country have marked the Salah celebrations, with leaders calling on Nigerians to uphold the tenets of sacrifice, humility, and brotherliness. With the 2 rakat prayers concluded, the chief imam of the Islamic Brotherhood of Nigeria in Abuja calls on Nigerians to embrace peace.
Depend solely on Allah, pray to Him, He's going to fix it. And then we also appeal to those who are in authority that they should continue to fear Allah, to continue to administer whatever they are doing with the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We will continue to pray for them, that Allah will guide them, that Allah will fix it for them, because they cannot do it.
In Kano, Governor Abba Yusuf joined Emir Mohammed Sanusi II at the Eid ground.
We also see the opportunity to appeal to all of us to restrain ourselves to all the services that we're supposed to provide as far as the Salah is concerned. Let's shun violence. We should also shun drug addiction and so on and so forth.
Meanwhile, in another part of Kano, Emir Aminu Ado Bayero led prayers at the Nasarawa Palace, where he later presided over a Doba, attended by his supporters and traditional title holders. In Jigawa, after prayers, the state governor Omar Namadi called on Muslims to remain prayerful for peace and progress, while Governor Abdullah Isule of Nasarawa State, who joined Muslim faithfuls at his hometown in Gudi for Eid congregation prayers, called on the people to live peacefully for the development of the state and the country.
We thank the people of Jigawa State for all their cooperation and understanding, and we pray that this kind of cooperation and understanding will continue. As a government, we will continue to do our best as the people of Jigawa State, and I'm sure that we have seen what has happened, and we want to thank the people for all their understanding.
I call on all the good people of Nasarawa State to remember that we have to make these total sacrifices to our Creator Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to make sacrifices for brotherhood. So I call on the good people of Nasarawa State to continue to remain with one another in peace and harmony, and to continue to love one another, and to make sacrifices for our state and our nation.
In Niger, Governor Omar Bagu urged Nigerians to continue to pray for the peace and the development of the country.
It signifies unity and oneness, and it calls for all Muslims from near and far to pray to God Almighty for forgiveness, for our late parents, for our country, and for tomorrow, a better tomorrow.
Governor Ino Ayaya of Gombe State, who is also chairman of the Northern State Governors Forum, and his Adamawa counterpart, Umar Fintiri, joined hundreds of Muslim faithfuls to observe the 2 rakat obligatory prayers in their respective states. They insist that politicians and the electorate across the country must play by the books as political activities heat up for the 2027 general elections.
Just like every other person, the politicians should be more careful and more concerned with the peace of the country, and I urge every politician to play by the rules of the game.
My message at this critical time that we're facing the general election in the country is for politicians to play according to the rule of the game, and for us to continue to consider our country, build peace and unity among ourselves, and considering that the country is greater than all of us.
For Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State and one of his predecessors, residents of the state and the country must avoid actions capable of causing tension or disrupting public peace before, during, and after the 2027 general elections.
I've always been an advocate of peace. Therefore, I also call on the political elite. First of all, we should all be united. We're all one. We should be law-abiding. And we shall encourage the people also to be law-abiding so that the whole process will be seamless.
We will continue to pray for our country stability, our country economy, our country security, and as well to also pray for the president's success in this journey so far, and for his next ambition for the next period of 2027, inshallah.
However, the Kaduna State Governor, Obasani, described in a statement that Eid al-Kabir is a social season for profound spiritual reflections, sacrifice, and gratitude to Almighty Allah, emphasizing that the celebrations goes beyond spiritual activities, but the promotion of humanity, sincerity, and devotion to God.
In part 2, after the break, we bring you more on this year's Eid al-Kabir celebrations, this time from across the southern states of Nigeria. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you have just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. As Muslims across the world celebrate this year's Eid al-Kabir festival, President Bola Tinubu asked Nigerians to be tolerant and obey the rule of law. Muslims across Nigeria converged on various prayer grounds to celebrate the Eid al-Kabir. Islamic clerics and state governors asked Nigerians to embrace peace and maintain a life of sacrifice. History is made in London as former Councillor Rosaline Oguro assumes office as the mayor of Islington. And the head of the World Health Organization, Tedros Ghebreyesus, says the ongoing conflict in the DR Congo is hampering the Ebola outbreak response. More on the Eid al-Kabir celebrations in Nigeria. Muslims in the southern part of the country also observed the festival with calls for unity and national reconciliation. Islamic and political leaders talked about the moral of the season, while restating the stance of the president with regards to the economic benefits that Nigeria stands to gain in due time.
Muslim faithful across Nigeria gather at various points to pray as they celebrate Eid al-Kabir. With the prayers come messages of goodwill and requests for sustained prayers for the leadership of the country and the world at large. In Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, the chief imam of Egbaland asked Muslim faithful to continue to live together in peace and shun all acts that could bring the religion of Islam into disrepute, while the senator representing Ogun Central Senatorial District, who represented the state's governor, Dapo Abiodun, asked for more prayers for the successful conduct of next year's elections.
He wants me to request you to pray for our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR to have a successful re-election, and indeed for all those who are fighting for one position or the other in Ogun State.
And in Ibadan, the Oyo State's capital, Muslims gathered at the Eid prayer ground to celebrate the Eid al-Adha. At the Agodi prayer ground, the Deputy Governor of Oyo State, Bayo Lawal, led other faithful to offer prayers for peace and stability of the nation, after which a delegation paid a courtesy visit to Governor Seyi Makinde, who encouraged them to downplay ethnic and religious differences and focus on values that binds the nation together.
We are very liberal and tolerant people, so it is difficult to use ethnicity or religion to divide us.
In Edo State, Governor Monday Okpabolo has called on Muslims and Nigerians at large to use the Eid al-Adha celebration to pray for peace, unity and progress in the country. Speaking through his deputy, Dennis Idahosa, at the Eid celebration in the government house, Benin City, the governor described the season as one of faith, sacrifice and compassion. He reaffirmed his administration's commitments to fairness and inclusivity, noting that competent Muslims continue to serve in key positions in his government.
Our administration remains firmly committed to the fairness, inclusivity and equal opportunity for all citizens, irrespective of religion or ethnicity.
On his part, the leader of the Hausa community in the South-South region, who spoke after Eid prayers, says there is the need for Muslim faithful to be law-abiding.
To love one another by being peaceful, religiously tolerant, and all that.
with sacrifice and gratitude to God, compassion as well as trust in God as some of the key highlights of the Eid al-Kabir. Muslim faithful are expected to go beyond ritual sacrifice to promote humanity, sincerity and devotion to God.
And on a programming note, we'd like to remind our viewers on our DSTV platform that the ADC presidential primaries results collation and announcement, which was live earlier before our flagship, will continue after the news at 10. That's right after the flagship, the news at 10 tonight. Once again, the ADC presidential primaries results collation and announcement will continue right after our flagship, the news at 10 on our DSTV platform. Moving on, the growing visibility of Nigerians in British public life was on display in London, United Kingdom, as Councillor Rosaline Oguro was inaugurated as the new mayor of Islington. Her appointment comes just a year after Nigerian-born Jason Jackson made history as the borough's first Nigerian-born mayor, reinforcing what many see as the expanding civic and political influence of the Nigerian diaspora across the UK. With a background in community advocacy and broadcasting, Rosaline Oguro takes office at a time of growing pressure on local councils across Britain.
It means the world to me. I don't only have to know my ward, which is St. Peter's and Canal Side, but I get to go all over Islington and meet the diverse community that we have, meet young, old, different colors of people, different shades of people from all walks of life. So I get to go so many places, get to know Islington better. I was volunteering even in Nigeria. I was a member of the Sir Optimist International of Great Britain and Ireland. It happens to be the Festac branch. Sir Optimist is an organization that uses the professionals, to uplift women. You know how women were relegated in the background, even up to the point that women couldn't read the news when I joined, and as you heard, I had to, I was one of those to blaze the trail at that time.
Meanwhile, Chairman Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, Abike Dabiri-Erewa, has congratulated Rosaline Oguro on her emergence as the new mayor of Islington, describing the achievement as a proud moment for Nigeria and a testament to excellence, dedication and impactful community service. Rosaline Oguro, who was first elected councillor for St. Peter's and Canal Side ward of Islington Council in May 2022, previously served on the Homes and Communities Scrutiny Committee, the Licensing Committee, and as Deputy Mayor before her elevation to the office of Mayor of Islington. Ms. Dabiri-Erewa praised Rosaline Oguro's inspiring journey and commitment to public service, noting that her emergence reflects the growing influence and positive contributions of Nigerians occupying leadership positions across the globe. According to the NIDCOM boss, Rosaline Oguro's dedication to community development, advocacy and public service has distinguished her as a worthy ambassador of Nigeria in the United Kingdom. Before becoming a councillor, Rosaline Oguro worked with several voluntary organizations, including the Islington Citizens Advice Bureau, where she currently serves part-time as an advisor. So let's head to the nation's capital now, and Victoria Longjohn is standing by to give us the latest from our Abuja studios. Over to you, Victoria.
Thank you, Ayo. The Christian Association of Nigeria has called on government at all levels and security agencies in the country to treat the protection of schools and children as an urgent national responsibility. In a statement signed by its president, Archbishop Daniel Oko, the association said it marks Children's Day with a mixture of gratitude for the lives and potential of Nigerian children and deep concern over the growing dangers confronting them across the country. Noting the recent attacks on schools in Oyo State, where pupils and teachers were abducted by gunmen, the statement says the incident has again raised painful questions about the safety of children and the future of education in an atmosphere of worsening insecurity. According to the statement, quote, "Beyond insecurity, millions of Nigerian children continue to struggle with poverty, hunger, abuse, trafficking, child labor, and limited access to quality education and healthcare. These challenges are steadily denying many children the stability, dignity, and opportunities they deserve. Now, the plight of school children and teachers currently held in captivity in Oyo and Borno states as a background, President Bola Tinubu has pledged that his administration will not rest until every abducted child is safely returned. In a statement to mark Children's Day, the president said the affected families would not have their pain reduced to ceremony and offered personal assurances as both a father and a head of state that the victims have not been forgotten. The president announced that he directed all relevant security agencies to sustain and intensify coordinated rescue operations with abducted children and other vulnerable citizens across the country, insisting that such operations must be intelligence-led and carefully executed with the safe recovery of victims as the primary objective. He also ordered the strengthening of school protection measures in high-risk areas, including updated vulnerability mapping, closer coordination between state governments and security commands, establishment of rapid response links between schools and local security units. While the president further directed the Federal Ministry of Education to collaborate with state governments to deepen implementation of the Safe School framework. He also called on communities, traditional rulers, religious leaders, and other stakeholders to support efforts to protect children. Now, still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's foreign exchange reserves rebounds to nearly $50 billion after several weeks of decline as crude oil earnings offset impact of geopolitical tensions on the external buffer. That's some business news. To join us again. Welcome back to the news at 10. 62 years ago, Nigeria adopted May 27 as a day to celebrate every Nigerian child, promote child welfare, child rights, and raise awareness about issues affecting children across the country. Now, drawing from the official theme of the 2026 National Children's Day, Future Now, promoting inclusion for every Nigerian child, Channels Television shines the spotlight on children in orphanage homes, examining their welfare, emotional well-being, and the challenges administrators face in running these homes.
The theme for the 2026 National Children's Day celebration, Future Now, promoting inclusion for every Nigerian child, sends a strong reminder that every child deserves a place to call home, a safe space to grow, and a hand to hold. While thousands of children may have a safe home, a routine, and a family to lean on, a report by the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, as well as UNICEF, says there are about 17.5 million orphans and vulnerable children in Nigeria, with roughly 7.3 to 8.6 million of these children being single orphans who have lost one parent or total orphans who have lost both of their parents. According to the 2024 Lady Helen Child Health Foundation research, there are 278 registered orphanages nationwide, with Lagos State hosting at least 55 approved homes. The report notes that hundreds of unregistered and informal homes also operate across the country. Since it officially began operations in 2006, Heritage Homes in Lagos has been one of these many approved facilities that have created a safe space for these children to develop their aspirations and dreams.
We are very particular about those first days, those first weeks, the beginning time when the child comes into the home. We work with the child emotionally, physically, not just feeding and going to school, but to make sure that the child is groomed into a total child that can fit in, that can have a personal identity.
With over 22 years of running the Hearts of Gold Children's Hospice, Mrs. Laja Adedoyi shares how children from different parents and backgrounds are unified under one home.
I look after children with special needs, children that have cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, congenital abnormalities, the kind of disabilities that some people will not even want to be associated with. But those are my children. So I always say society rejects are my treasures.
Get to the kitchen, you can see.
Running these childcare institutions comes with distinct challenges for the children and the caregivers fighting to give them a better future.
Some of the challenges that we face for daily operations would include, trying to get the right donors for the needs that the children have per time, because sometimes the children's needs may be school fees.
For children with disabilities, I know that there's been a lot of awareness over the years in terms of acceptability, but then we still have a lot of hurdles to overcome. The more awareness you are able to create, the better for the society. And that even for parents who have these children, you don't have to throw them away. They are human beings. We should all embrace them.
When we have children in institutional care, there's a lot of developmental compromise that the child would face cognitively, in terms of emotional development, in terms of psychosocial support. There's just so much that is going on that the child may not have access to. So we need those policies in terms of regulation, training, financing, and general safeguarding framework that is not just on paper, that is actually seen to be implemented.
Government at various levels remain committed to addressing these challenges and strengthening child protection systems, safeguarding vulnerable children from abuse, exploitation, violence and neglect.
As a nation and government, we will continue to strengthen policies and programs that protect the rights of children and expand opportunities for every child to succeed.
There are also calls for a broader implementation of laws such as the Child Rights Act, which outlines specific frameworks that ensures vulnerable children are protected and cared for at all times.
Now, Children's Day is observed annually worldwide on May 27 to celebrate and honor children, advocate for their rights, and promote their overall well-being. In Lagos, the day went beyond celebrations as Plasti DigiHub recipients of Channel Television's 10 million naira funded forward competition started. Aged children of different ages who were tasked on how to use their creative skills to save the planet. Now, this program is designed for children and teenagers to bridge the gap between creativity and sustainability through hands-on climate education, upcycling workshops, and interactive tech sessions.
It's the EcoChamp Teen First 2026, put together by Plasti DigiHub to celebrate this year's Children's Day in Lagos. These children participating in this one-day event are made to apply our philosophy of refuse, reduce, reuse, and recycle, a practical demonstration that saving the earth from pollution is in their hands.
Even not only textile waste, it can be pencil waste that can be used for creative art. We've moved towards it. Now we're going to talk about eco-literacy, the behavioral management around our environment.
Through an initiative like this, household products such as interior decorations and gift items have been produced. The founder of Plasti Creative Solutions Limited, Mr. Amidu Mohammed, says he believes securing the future is the core of sustainability.
They are celebrating Children's Day. At the same time, they are also, going through adventures like using waste to create artworks and all of those things. So what we're just trying to do is letting the young people know that you can solve problems using these materials around you, like fabric waste, cardboards, and things like that.
Activities cut across turning textile and plastic waste into functional products, eco-crafts, and digital climate tech learning. The participating children share their experience.
I learned how to design, how to use with fabric, how to glue something, and how to present, and how to speak.
I'm very happy because I'm wanting to be here today to do something like this. But maybe when I get home, I can be practicing more to be more perfect.
We learned how to do word search and we answer some questions.
The one-day EcoChamp Teen First is another platform through which kids are made to understand their role in saving the earth before adulthood. Experts believe giving them hands-on education and the establishment of sustainable practices through the use of plastic and other waste to create useful items could save future generations from environmental disasters.
And that's it from Abuja. It's now back to Ayo for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you so much, Victoria.
This is Channels Television's breaking news.
And on our breaking news, the African Democratic Congress, the ADC, has declared former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as the flag bearer of the party for the 2027 presidential election. The former Vice President Atiku Abubakar polled a total of 1,846,370 votes to clinch the party's ticket. Once again, the ADC has declared former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as the flag bearer of the party for the 2027 presidential election in its presidential primary. Now, the former Vice President polled a total of 1,846,370 votes to clinch the party's ticket.
We demonstrated that while democracy is being strangled and squashed by the ruling party and its operatives and anti-democratic government, democracy is alive and well in the African Democratic Congress. In our party, members are allowed to express their views, to have ambitions, and to contest for elective positions in a free, fair, and transparent process. Our great party is a coalition built through hard work, immense sacrifices, and compromises, guided by our determination to rescue our country's democracy, which is facing its greatest threat since the return of democracy in 1999. As I speak, virtually all opposition political parties in the country are being thrown into different forms of leadership crisis. And opposition figures continue to be harassed and intimidated, including those languishing in detention, such as Malam Nasser El-Rufai, who distinguished himself as a public servant, including as a minister and a two-term governor of Kaduna State. He has been in detention.
Those were live pictures there from the ADC presidential primary. Of course, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar being declared as the flag bearer of the party for the 2027 presidential election. Moving on now, distinguished personalities have showered encomiums on renowned legal icon Wole Olanipekun for donating an ultra-modern mother and child maternity complex to the State Specialist Hospital, Ikere Ekiti, describing the gesture as a landmark contribution to healthcare delivery and nation building. The commissioning of the facility was attended by the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, the Oni of Ife, Adiaye Eniton Guusi, Southwest governors, and other prominent Nigerians.
The new Cruise Mother and Child Maternity Complex has been officially commissioned and handed over to the Ekiti State Government. Dignitaries present at the event include Ekiti State Governor Biodo Yebanji, Ondo State Governor Loke Ayedatiwa, former Ondo State Governor Olusegun Mimiko, and former Osun State Governor Bisi Akonde, alongside the visionary Wole Olanipekun, SAN.
Is here
Representing the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Kolawole Ogundikpe, stated that the facility significantly supports the federal government's objective of reducing maternal and child mortality while improving access to quality healthcare.
The event of today, beyond the unveiling of a new building, symbolizes an occasion to acknowledge the compassion, humanity, patriotism, and shared responsibility toward the health and well-being of our people.
Wale Olanikpekun is lauded for his philanthropy, as guests described the project as an exemplary initiative that reflects the kind of transformative development the country needs.
Please, let's come home. Our people need help. God has helped us so that we can help others. If you are successful and you are not positively impacting the society, then there's a question mark of your success.
I commend Chief Wale Olanikpekun, NCN, and his family for this remarkable intervention in healthcare. To generously build, equip, and donate this facility is a reminder of the nobility of your family.
He believed that education matters. He believed that integrity still matters. He believed that values also matter. And he believed strongly that those whom God has blessed must never disconnect themselves from the ordinary people.
God has given you your profession that you chose from heaven, and you do it with comfort, ease, and you have turned around the legal profession in this country. It is very obvious your name can never ever just go like that. In your lifetime, you are building legacy that will never end.
For Mr. Olanikpekun, the progress of any society requires passion, commitment, and a shared sense of purpose.
The Bible tells me, render your heart and not your garment. I want you to come home. This is Macedonia. Come and assist us. All we want is that come and let us build the career together. We all grew up here. We attended primary school here, secondary school here. And we say, look, we stay in Lagos, we stay in Abuja. I'm not so Igbo. Everyone goes to his hometown every now and then. He lives there. He's part and parcel of them.
With the facility now operational, the community looks forward to improved maternal outcomes and enhanced emergency care, serving as a lasting testament to the power of individual initiative in driving national progress.
As part of activities to mark his 60th birthday, foremost businessman and philanthropist Dr. Gabriel Ogbeche has encouraged young entrepreneurs to embrace integrity, resilience, and long-term thinking, saying wealth creation and job generation remain critical to lifting millions of Nigerians out of poverty. At an entrepreneurship symposium held in Lagos, Dr. Ogbeche, who is the founder and group managing director of Rain Oil Limited, also gave 10 entrepreneurs 5 million naira each.
There are too many different things, but one thing that is extremely important is believing in one's cause. And again, like I said earlier, if you're agile, your learning helps you, but you must own.
It's a room full of business leaders, young entrepreneurs, family, friends, and mentees of the latest 60-year-old, the founder and group managing director of Rain Oil Limited, Dr. Gabriel Ogbeche. In an interactive session reflecting on his entrepreneurial journey, the oil and gas magnate recounted how he rose from humble backgrounds to building one of the country's notable downstream petroleum business through discipline, patience, integrity, and consistency.
When I started Rain Oil in 1994, my salary was 30,000 naira, and I asked myself, Gabriel, what else can you do to make 30,000 naira? And I said, if I sell a truck of diesel, I will make 30,000 naira. And then I set out to get the money to sell one truck of diesel. Truth is, don't look too far. Face what is in your front. If you confront that which is in your front and you confront the next one, a time will come, you will look back and say, how did I get here?
Other business leaders who spoke at the event also spoke to the theme, resilient entrepreneurship, building in an uncertain economy.
Responsible governments provide the oxygen for entrepreneurship to thrive.
And that oxygen consists of infrastructure, which means there will be electricity, and entrepreneurs will create, build, and run a great economy.
Take the road less traveled, don't look back. You have nothing to lose. In other words, be bold enough, bet on yourself again and again.
I will tell you something about this man that his balance sheet will never show. He can be absolutely immovable in the boardroom, dogmatic, decisive, unshakable when he believes in something. But let one of his children call, let family need him, and every wall comes down in a heartbeat. That ability to be a lion in business and completely present for the people he loves, that to me is his greatest achievement.
Where we need to scale.
One of the high points of the summit was the injection of 50 million naira in equity-free seed capital into Nigeria's startup ecosystem by the celebrants, who selected 10 early-stage entrepreneurs to receive 5 million naira each.
A country of 200 million people, it means 200 million mouths to feed, 200 million people to move around, 200 million people to clothe, 200 million people to house. You know, the opportunities are humongous. What I encourage people to do is just identify what you need to do, lay your hand on it and pursue it.
Looking ahead, the entrepreneur says he intends to focus more on philanthropy, mentorship and supporting more younger Nigerians.
And on business news, despite increased global risk and volatility across emerging markets, Nigeria's foreign reserves has made some significant rebound in its gross level. According to latest data from the central bank, the country's external buffer rose to a fresh high of $49.25 billion as at May the 25th, following an increase of $930 million. The remarkable development is largely attributed to the increase in global oil prices, which is particularly driven by the ongoing conflict in the Middle East, as well as sustained portfolio inflow and increase in diaspora remittances. This recovery in the country's FX reserves, which marks one of its highest accretion this year, comes after it had declined to $48.32 billion. The African Development Bank has appointed Nigeria's Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, as the African champion for its $7 billion Integrated Aviation Transformation Program for Africa. A statement made by the AFDB says Nigeria was selected for this leadership position due to its aviation ministry's recent policy reforms, which have successfully improved transparency, safety, and investor confidence in the country's aviation sector. And that's it on business news. Back to Ayotunde for the rest of the news at 10.
Many thanks, Dominic. Simon Pusey is up next with Around the World in 5 from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The ongoing conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo is hampering the Ebola outbreak response. That's according to the head of the World Health Organization. Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said the east of the country was at the center of a catastrophic collision of disease and conflict, with the Ebola outbreak in Ituri province outpacing the response. In a statement, Tedros said the WHO cannot build community trust or isolate the sick while bombs are falling. He is due to arrive in DR Congo later to spearhead scaling up efforts to contain the virus. There have been 220 suspected deaths since the outbreak was declared.
He added that our work continues to be impeded by violence and limited access to some of the hardest to reach communities. Together with the DRC government, the UN and its partners continue scaling up the response to the ongoing crisis. And also, as we mentioned last week, to address the broader humanitarian and health needs of the affected communities.
The commander of Hamas's military wing, Mohammed Odeh, has been killed in a strike in the Gaza Strip, days after his predecessor died in a similar attack. Local medics and witnesses said at least 3 Palestinians were killed and dozens more injured in the attack, which hit a residential building in one of Gaza City's busiest market areas. Israel's military and Shin Bet security service said buildings that had served as a hideout for Odeh were targeted and his movements had been tracked for several months. Despite the Israel-Hamas ceasefire agreed in October, violence in Gaza has continued on a near-daily basis. Rescuers in Laos have found 5 villagers alive inside a flooded cave after they were trapped for a week following heavy rain and landslides. 2 other villagers are still missing. The 7 were part of a group of villagers from the central province who had gone into the cave on Wednesday last week in search of gold deposits and wildlife, but could not get out as the cave's muddy entrance had been blocked. Footage shared by the rescuers showed cave divers crawling through narrow, muddy passageways that were almost completely flooded. NASA has released details of robotic landers, hopping drones and vehicles it aims to send to the moon as part of the US plans to build a lunar base. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos' space company Blue Origin is one of several companies picked to build the machines. The US wants to land Americans back on the moon before President Donald Trump leaves office in 2029. But NASA is competing with China to return humans to the lunar surface, meaning the space agency is under pressure to appear to be winning the space race. China is forging ahead with its own plans to land humans on the moon by 2030.
And then eventually, when we've matched the assets, habitation modules, with the logistics and all the things to move the logistics around, then we'll be able to say, hey, we're permanently here and we're not giving it up.
At least 1 person has been killed and 9 others are missing after a major chemical explosion at a paper mill in Washington.
Reporting a tank imploded. It looks like there's 3 people with chemical burns and 1 subject is missing.
The explosion occurred at 7:15 in the morning local time, 130 miles south of Seattle. A further 9 people have been injured in the spill, including 8 employees and 1 firefighter. The explosion occurred due to a rupture of a tank containing white liquor, the company said in a statement. White liquor is a highly corrosive chemical used in the paper-making process. Ghanaian authorities are repatriating the first group of 800 citizens they say have registered to be flown home from South Africa on Wednesday morning. Dozens of buses chartered by the Ghanaian embassy dropping off passengers at Johannesburg's OR Tambo airport. There were men, women and children of all ages. A smaller group of people arrived in a police van and were kept apart from the majority of passengers and watched over by police. It follows a wave of protests against illegal immigration in South African cities in recent weeks, leading to fears there could be a resurgence in xenophobic violence in the country. And Ghana has welcomed Pope Leo XVI's apology for the Catholic Church's historic role in slavery, describing it as an act of moral courage that was important in the global pursuit of truth, human dignity and justice.
And may the blessing of Almighty God, the Father...
The Pope issued the clearest apology yet for the Church's involvement in legitimizing slavery and its delay in condemning it for centuries. The apology was published in the Pope's first major teaching document of his papacy, which also focused on the dangers of artificial intelligence. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you so very much, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Jean-Philippe Mateta scored the winning goal as Crystal Palace beat Rayo Vallecano 1-0 to win the UEFA Conference League. This marks the English side's maiden European title. France striker Jean-Philippe Mateta turned in a rebound early in the second half to send departing manager Oliver Glasner out in style and dash Rayo's own hope of their first major trophy. That sports is back to you, Ayo.
And the main news again. Muslims today across the nation celebrated this year's Eid al-Kabir festival as President Bola Tinubu asked Nigerians to be tolerant and obey the rule of law. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. Do have a good night.